What's up, Dread Runners? Dreadies? Dreadheads? I will be going over basically every movement tech, if you can call them tech, in the game that you should and will learn to lower your time significantly. I will not include spin jump or space jump since those are just jump abilities, and I will miss some specific uses or tech in this video as there is a surprising amount of them. But this showcase or guide or whatever you want to call it will have the majority of it. I hope this helps you, and if you enjoy the content, think about dropping a like and subscribing for more. I also stream and looking to do a lot more down the line, so let's get into it. All right, so this is going to be a little impromptu because the script would be like really huge, but let's start off with a simple one. Running is your preferred movement, especially early on. You don't want to do like melee during running. It's a little weird, and it's significantly slower. Sliding is also the same thing. It just takes up frames that you could be doing, and if you melee in the middle of it, you kind of just stall, right? Like jumping is also something you'll be doing a lot, obviously, but doing it during a run is like very significantly slower. So try to be running as much as possible. Basically stay grounded. There's a specific movement thing you have to do, which is ledge hopping. And you do one by just grabbing the ledge by just holding towards the ledge, and you'll just grab it. Now, if you hold up like that, you'll do a clamber or a mantle or whatever you want to call it. This is significantly slower. If you hold toward and quickly press A, you'll do like a quicker mantle. Depending on how light you press the button will determine how big your jump height is. See how big this jump is? You also do a way, right? The faster you do it, the more it seems like you're basically doing nothing. Doing it the fast way is kind of tricky. Like the fastest doesn't even look like it's grabbing it, but this is something you definitely want to get used to, especially because you'll be doing a lot of ledge hops, especially early on. Like if you clamber, look how slow this is versus just like doing that. Now, here's also a thing about ledge hops. If you can avoid grabbing the ledge entirely like this is significantly faster than just clambering or ledge hopping because it's airtime. But if you stumble, it's okay to ledge hop as long as you don't do like a big hop, you know? So you want to do like as slow as hop as possible. And you want to get a habit of doing it away also. And if you can manage it, you want to clear the ledge as high as you can so that you just land like that instead of just stumbling. Because stumbling is slower than just clearing the ledge, because once you land, see how you like kind of lose speed, but if you clear the ledge entirely and land, you just keep going. Like you just keep momentum, it just keep going. But if you stumble, you kind of just like lose speed a little and you kind of got to start up again. See? So just recap, like you grab the ledge and you press up or you press jump and you'll clamber. Now there's specific cases where like in morph tunnels you can like speed mantle, and you kind of have to do that. I'll go over that in a bit in the morph session, but you grab it, you quickly press jump when you grab the ledge, and you do a quick hop. Depending on how hard or how short you press the jump button will determine how fast you hop. There's certain situations where you want to like differ it, but generally as long as you get the quick ledge hop, no matter the height, it's about the same. If you stumble, it's still faster than doing a ledge hop. If you can clear the ledge completely, that's definitely preferred, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just get over the ledge as fast as possible. You want to movement to be very smooth. Now there's the climb in the next room. I'll show you, kind of like the slow way, and I'll show you the I wouldn't say the fastest way, but definitely my preferred way. Do the slow. Like look at look at all this mantling, right? It's like pretty sloppy. And I'll show you the faster way, right? With like all the ledge hopping. Yeah. So let me show you the climb. I'm a little rusty, but this is the way I would do it. You have to come through here again in your playthrough and grab an E-tank down there. But normally I kill that. But if you do ledge hops, obviously you won't have wide beams. But you would have missiles. Like compare that to, I'll probably put a comparison right after this as B-roll. Like you'll notice how like significantly faster it is. Now extrapolate that throughout the entire run and you're saving seconds, like so many seconds, right? Like just doing this saves seconds. Like, and then like the stumble here, if you can like do this small hop to avoid it, that's better. But I wouldn't worry about the stumble too much, but just stuff like this that would really help you save time. Now this room I specifically don't like, but you know, if you struggle here in this room, I fully understand. It's kind of awkward to get this, but if you clamber all these, it's like so slow, right? But if you ledge hop, like that's significantly faster, right? Now, sometimes you would have magnet here. You can just do this, right? You grab this. Some people like to take it slow and then just go over, and then you have to go like here. Now, I'm gonna take this to like different locales, but sliding has quite a bit of uses. Surprisingly, there's stuff like coyote jumps, which is basically like sliding midair, right? If you do too late, you kind of just miss it. This is very useful. This is very useful in so much of the game, and you need to get used to this, right? Like doing it super late, doing it super early, doing it on the ground. Not only is this coyote jump very useful and very key for some stuff, like if you do it too early, you'd like jump and then accidentally slide, you'll just start morphing, right? But this, like imagine if there's like a spike right here. I can't think of a spot. Oh, I could think of a very specific spot that I could showcase this. You can avoid like a ceiling or something if you do like a low enough slide coyote jump, right? But not only is this very useful for this, if jumping over a ledge is slower, right? Depending on if there's like a gap or something like that, meleeing is definitely your preferred, but I'll go over that in a sec. But if jumping is slower, meleeing is kind of very specific for a different terrain. Your preferred movement over a ledge is to slide. This saves a couple frames, because if you don't, you just kind of do this, right? You kind of just lose speed. But if you slide, you kind of just keep going. You reach the ground a little bit faster, and you basically just kind of keep momentum and just keep going. So get used to sliding off ledges. There will be there's a lot of them, especially in the beginning, to get used to it, right? You want to get used to coyote jumps. I'll showcase specific spots where this is useful. Now, speaking of sliding, this is a specific spot that slide coyote would have its benefits. It saves a couple frames. Normally, you would break this block, right? I didn't break the block, luckily, because of NMG. You don't go through this area, but in glitchless, this is very useful. Maybe I'll be able to pull it off, but this would drain the water, and normally you have to stand here and wait for water to drain so you could jump up there. But if you just do a coyote jump, I missed it, but you can actually get up there. Oh, wow. It actually saves the cinematic. But yeah, you can get up to this ledge a little faster by doing the coyote jump like that, right? Because as the water's draining, you can avoid it by doing this coyote jump instead of breaking it and waiting and then jumping up. It saves a couple frames and it's definitely worth getting used to. There's also specific spots like here, especially if you're in glitchless, like you see all these ledges over here, you have to slide under this. And normally you just fall and then you jump. But if you do a coyote, you jump over all of it and start just blaring through. Now, a specific thing about sliding off ledges, if you do it early, you actually lose speed. If you do it early, you kind of just lose speed. But if you do it as you're falling off, you actually keep the momentum a lot. But try not to do it too late, otherwise you morph. It's usually not a problem in late game because you're going to be doing a lot less sliding. But early game, this is like really important. There's one thing I forgot to mention about sliding and slide morphing. You can actually lock yourself. Sliding, there's a thing about continuity for Samus that is like really annoying. If you slide morph or slide turnaround, which is very important, you can lock your controls for a sec. Like you just add a significant amount of input lag. Like I'm trying to like continuously doing this. It just doesn't work. And then in some cases, if you slide morph into the wall or ledge, you'll find yourself unable to unmorph for a while. It's like really annoying. It's like SM's equivalent of crouch locking. Sometimes it just like you're just stuck in a ball. Right? Why my ball? Let me show you how ledge hop can really change your speed. Like we have these ledges right here. You'll be going through this in the early game. If you clamber, it's pretty slow, right? Look at this. It's so slow. But if you ledge hop, it's significantly faster, right? You just go like ledge hop, ledge hop, ledge hop. And of course, the preferred way is if you could clear it, you should clear it, right? You'll just save a couple frames. Now, this is also a good spot to show you sliding, right? If you kind of just do sliding, it looks very jarring and very slow. But if you just slide through them all, like you gain quite a bit of speed. Now, this is a small case and it doesn't seem like a lot, right? It doesn't seem like sliding or even meleeing or just like jumping a lot. But think about it. Mantling in this game over the course of MG route, this was older route that we timed it. Clambering, right? Just saving this animation by just jumping over or quick hopping or anything like that. The amount of mantling and ledge hopping, the amount of mantling and the amount of ledge hopping that would save over mantling would save you close to 2 minutes on the entire route. Just doing this and just getting rid of that, right? Like, oh, that doesn't seem like a lot, right? It's just like, a quarter of a second. That adds up a lot. Frames matter in speedrunning, right? If you save one frame over, 100 times, that's 100 frames. That's close to 2 seconds gained. Especially if something easy like this, right? You should get used to this. So get used to ledge hops, get used to sliding, and we'll go over melee. Try to stay grounded as best you can until you get flash shift and speed booster, and then things get really confusing after that. Now melee is kind of weird, right? This seems very slow, but in very specific terrain and very specific situations, melee is very useful, right? Like this gap, jumping sucks. And sliding doesn't get you over. But melee, gets you over just fine, and you get a small speed boost, especially off the ledge. Like, look how far I lunge. Now, if you don't press jump afterwards, you kind of see this like weird stalling motion, right? But you don't get that if you respin after meleeing, right? See, I respin in the air and I don't have this weird like stalling motion. And stuff like that in very specific spots are really useful. Like melee is very useful in very specific spots, like this one. Like if you're doing NMG Corpus first, you're gonna come, actually in most runs you'll come through this room. Jumping is slow and sometimes you miss, just like the other ledge. Sliding doesn't work. Coyote is the next best thing, right? But melee is your preferred, right? Look at that. Like, it's just a lot easier. It makes more sense. It's a lot less annoying. Now, this is actually a perfect place to talk about melee and spin dropping. This is something you should get used to. Especially, again, most of this is very useful in early game. If you see here, right, you have these ledges and you're trying to come here at a very specific part of the game. Now, jumping is like really slow and it's significantly harder to weave this, but spinning is your preferred dropping method after morphing, because ball drops significantly faster than Samus for whatever reason, right? Like spinning is very slow, but if you ball, you get a faster falling speed. Now, you can't really do ball in this situation because you just start hitting all the ledges. You want to spin drop. And if you drop on a ledge while actually grabbing it, you can do this on the fly. You kind of just like roll off it, right? See that? I technically hit this ledge, but I rolled off it. And this is what you should get used to, just like spinning. But this is really awkward, right? Like just jumping. This is where melee comes in very specific spots. Like here, there are some terrain that are like this. And melee makes it like a lot easier, because if you slide, it doesn't work. If you slide Coyote, it's still really awkward. See, I grab that, I can like jump, but that's also kind of awkward. But melee makes it like really easy. Now, a situation like this, you just want to do that, melee. There's also one thing I kind of forgot to mention about spin drop. You want to do a spin drop is very useful for changing direction. You could do it out of a slide, which is probably the fastest form of it. Yeah, like if I don't do it, I kind of just like grab the ledge, or I kind of like stall a sec. If I do a slide, I kind of go all the way over here instead. I like to just drop and just flick from left to right, and then neutral stick, and then respin. See, like that. You can also do a slide. It's also just as fast. But generally, that's what you want to do instead of just sliding over. But if you gotta go like separate, like a different direction every single time, you know, you gotta do this. This also helps with the weaving certain situations like this. Now, there is a specific tech that's kind of hard to implement, is this. There is a specific thing you can do while grabbing a ledge that would immediately, yeah, see right there? It would immediately initiate a downward motion and you get a quick drop. Now, this is like really hard to make work consistently, depending on the ledge, but all you really do is you kind of interrupt this holding animation by morphing, and you just basically drop immediately. This has its specific uses. It's not really useful for like weaving platforms, but there are some long drops that this would benefit from. And you can also do it by not even morphing in some circumstances. Like if there is a white block underneath me, you can do a quick drop with it. It has just like one spot that I know that works. I'm not gonna show it because it's kind of out of the way right now, but you see how like kind of faster I do it. So get used to figuring out when to jump over a ledge, slide off the ledge, or even melee, right? So let's talk about grapple right now. Grapple, you're going to be wanting to use this quite a bit. Obvious use is to get to a magnet, right? You can also swing it and stuff, but grapple boosting is really important. Like there's specific situations, like if you want to go down there faster, you just, right? Imagine you're falling and you want to reach the ground faster, right? You just grapple boost down. The same with going up. Now you can do the easy way, where you just kind of like go to it and then jump off, go to it and then drop, stuff like that. But the advanced way would be to basically do a grapple boost where you don't actually grab the magnet, right? It's very useful, especially early on, especially in this situation right here. See, I don't grab the magnet. I don't have to do this. Oops. I don't have to do this, right? I can just jump here, go straight into it. If I don't suck, you can actually make it past the ledge. Let me see if I can make it past the ledge. Yep. You can also press jump after grapple boost. The spin jump, which is really cool, right? It's basically a free mid-air jump without spin boost or space jump. You get the boost and then you just do a jump. This is very useful. You need to get used to this because grapple is very useful for movement. Right? You basically become Spider-Man. And there's a lot of magnets in the game. There's a lot of specific situations where you do it. There's also a thing called magic. I think Zenny did it first, but we just coined it like that because I believe he thought it looked like magic. Basically, there are frames where you kind of like grab it like that, where the game doesn't consider you grabbing the ledge. Grabbing the magnet just yet, but it doesn't consider a wall. So you still grab it, you still get the magnet jump, but you don't actually get the magnet slowing effect, right? So it just immediately works. So you grapple and you jump morph, you basically just ride up the magnet. It's surprisingly difficult to do on the fly, but if you can get used to it, you basically go straight into a morph tunnel that's above a magnet, like at Quiet Robe or at Super Missiles. It's pretty useful. I wouldn't worry about too much, but it is a useful thing to get used to, especially if there's a morph tunnel, like say like right here, like right after Super Missiles. You can actually just jump morph into it, which does save time in some specific scenarios. So again, just get used to it. Now, another thing to talk about is charge beam. This technically doesn't seem like a movement tech, right? It's just a beam, but this has its very specific uses because we found that if you just do this, right, like double double backing. You can also do you can also do it with flash shift. It's a little bit more awkward to do it with flash shift, but you can do it. But basically a turning motion is what you want. You can also do it with morph, although morph is a little bit harder to do. But turning around, spin jumping, and especially turn spin jumping gives you a faster charge beam. Now, this is like really important for a lot of stuff. I can't think about it at the top of my head, but having a faster charge beam is just very useful. And instead of, having to like, oh, I need to break this block with a charge beam. Oh my God, that's like super slow, right? Like over a second right there. Like, oh, I gotta shoot this block. Let's go. It's like instant. So stuff like that is like really useful. You kill that like immediately. If that was a charge door, I would basically open it immediately. I killed that immediately. I wonder if this guy's still here, right? So I see that. 2 shots, easy. Now let's talk about Morph Ball. Morph Ball is really, it has its high points, that's for sure. But Morph Ball is very weird. You also get automatic Spring Ball, which is very nice. In games like SM, you kind of have to unlock Spring Ball, but you just get it for free. It's not as good as it seems. There's also a state in this game where if you kind of interrupt your morphing animation with grapple or some other specific things, your jump morph will be significantly lower. I think I already activated it. Oh yeah, see how high I go here? Before I was kind of like around here. That's the low ball state. This is me kind of making it on purpose, but you would get like this height. Like, oh wait, unless I did it already. Yeah, see? You actually get around this height by jump morphing. Because I did the low ball, I was getting like this height. There are states like that. There's the only way to really do it is just like go into a ball. I mean, to get rid of it, you gotta go to a ball and like spring ball and like kind of fix it. Oh my God, I did it again. Yeah, I did it again. It happens by unmorphing in the air. It's just basically, it works like water bomb jump. I'm not gonna go into water bomb jump, but it's very annoying, and you fix it by basically just going into ball and spring balling and kind of like playing around with it. But morphing, there's a lot of morph tunnels. There is a significant amount of morph tunnels, right? And learning how to do jump morphs goes back into the clamber time save I talked about earlier. Like it just saves time, right? There's like several ways to do it, right? You have, jump morph to get through there instead of doing this. You can also do a slide morph, not slide, jump morph, right? You slide, and you basically double tap slide. You double tap slide, you go into a morph, and you go into a ball and you spring ball in. Not slide jump morph, right? That also has specific uses, but specifically in like speedball stuff that I'll go into later, you want to get into a habit of doing a slide morph jump. You can get into ball by clambering up and pressing morph. This has its specific uses also. If you speed clamber up. Now let me show you. Arcandy made a video of this, but I'll show you how auto morph works. If you just go in it and morph, you and don't press anything, right? All I did was forward and jump through. I will unmorph, right? But if you go jump as you're clambering in, as you morph, basically you're trying to manual morph, you'll stay in the ball. See? So as I'm going in, I press morph. Morph, I stay in the ball. Now this is useful for stuff like auto unmorph is useful if you're going left. But what if I want to go this way, right? I do that instead. Right? Instead if I do this, that's kind of slow. But if I stay in ball for a sec, I can actually like kind of cut down on it a bit. But yeah, that's how auto unmorph works. There are specific situations where you want to stay in ball, especially if it's like a double morph tunnel like this. Like imagine this was a ledge and I go in and I unmorph here by accident. It's like really annoying to get back in. But if I undo the auto morph by going in, oh god. If I undo the auto morph going in, I can just immediately go into the morph tunnel. So that's something to get used to. Recap, you know, auto unmorph. You just clamber in and don't press anything. I just hold forward, you'll auto unmorph. But if you press morph as you're clambering in, you stay morphed and you have to manually unmorph out. Now, let's talk about flash shift. Flash shift is your preferred movement speed, movement tech. And this is most definitely a tech. Out of all of them, this is definitely a tech. That and speed booster. But that Aeon beam to the top left, that is your, well, Aeon meter, right? It uses up one for each flash shift, but for whatever reason, I don't know the lore or technology behind it, whatever, but you can do up to 3. Now, it's not up to 3. Like, you may be wondering why it's like you only do up to 3, right? It's not what's the best way to put it? It's like you get like 1 extra second of flash, right? Each use. It's not like, oh, you want to use 3. No, you can use a limited amount of Aeon in a certain amount of time, right? Like if I just do it fast like that, that's 3. But if I space it out, I still get 3 flashes instead of just doing all fast, right? It's not pressing 3 in a row. It's pressing 3 in a row in a certain window. If that makes sense. I think that's the apt way. Now, there's 2 ways to do flash. You do flash with just hold A and you stick. Right? I was holding A the whole time and stick. Now, there's the other way, which is just use stick and press A. And it has its uses. Stick is generally faster to do flashes because there's like button lag for some apparent reason. But if you want faster flashes, you want to use stick. But you can get away with just using the button if you really need to. Now, here's the important thing. That certain amount of window allows you to do certain actions, right? You can do this. I fit in a jump through each. Now, if you flash and then slide, you basically cancel this recoil animation, right? The slide. This like recoil slide, you cancel that by just sliding, which allows you to basically do action immediately after flash. Now, here you want to do like as low flash as possible. This is not a place you would go through again, but if you wanted to go through all 3, right? Most people just do this, but in some situations, like there's like a block here, you can't. You would have to do something like that, right? But if you make it, you slide, which ups the difficulty a lot more, you can get like a lot tighter flashes. But yeah, flashing and sliding is your preferred. Now, you can you can actually climb up a wall and do it also. Basically, you can fit one action between each flash. Now, you can actually climb a wall and make it easy. Right, wall jump, wall jump, wall jump. Hey, it's surprisingly hard. Maybe this wall works better. Right, like I can't climb this wall, but if I do it properly. I climbed over it. But yeah, it's just, again, something to get used to. Now, there are specific situations where you want to do that. So you do something like, say this is like the wall jump isn't high enough. But you also need to do triple flash to save time. You can do one flash into double flash, right? So it would be like something like that. Like if you just do a wall jump, it's not gonna make it, right? Just bear with me. Obviously, you can just get over it. But imagine if there's like a specific thing right here that makes it hard, or you're trying to get up there and it doesn't make it. You can do that with flash, right? Like that. Now, Aeon is very important to keep in mind to be able to do faster flashes overall. Aeon replenishes for movement done. Right here, look. I do a flash and it comes back like really fast like that, right? But if I just do a flash and just sit here, it takes a significantly amount of time. Look at that. I'm not moving and it's not filling up. But once I move, it fills up. Right? I don't move and it starts filling up. So when you use Aeon, or Ion, no, it's Aeon. You gotta be very wary of your movements after or during, because it can affect a movement. Because if I want more flashes, I have to keep track of the Aeon. Right? It's not just do a triple flash and then go through. It might be like using two and then into a melee, into more flashes, just stuff like that. Okay, now to talk about my favorite ability in the game, Speed Booster. Speed Booster, ironically, is not as fast as it's supposed to be. Right? You just press the thumbstick and then you get Speed Booster. Now, here's the thing about Speed Booster. This windup is very slow. Right? It's basically same running speed, but flash goes past it. For Speed Booster to beat out flash shift, it has to beat out 6 flash shifts, right? The distance of this has to be farther than 6 flash shifts for Speed Booster to be faster. And that's just in a horizontal distance. If you want Speed Booster to be faster than flash shift in saying like going up through here, right? Just flash shifting into that. If you want Speed Booster to be faster than that, there's like a lot of backtracking. There's a lot of optimizations you gotta do. Sometimes it's like obnoxiously difficult to save like half a second or something like that. And that's the other thing about Speed Booster. It's hilarious. If you want to save just that bit of extra time, you have to do a Speed Booster that is significantly harder and borderline task only versus just doing this, right? Just flash shifting around, just spamming A. You gotta like, I've never even done this, but let's try. Right, like I'm sure I could do something like this. No, okay, yeah. If it was possible, we were talking about like probably like a super tight window where you have to do like a delayed wall jump, like bounce off here, do a super quick jump into a wall jump here, into like land here, wall jump here, close this door, wall jump just to get here, versus it's freaking flash shifting, dude. Just flash shift, like done. Now, this was stuff like that it makes Speed Booster very annoying to optimize, because you can also just do this. That's what makes Dread like super cool. Like you can mix all this stuff. Now I have a Speed Booster and Instant Spark tutorial videos. If you want to check that out, I'll explain it a little bit because those are a little bit long-winded. So I'll keep it as concise as I can. Let's talk about Spark first. You get Spark by just speed boosting and then pressing down. Speed boosting, pressing down. Now you can slow Spark by just having a neutral stance like this, by stopping yourself by shooting or aiming, right? Or you can do melee, same thing. Basically anything to neutral stance. You can also do like out of flash, I think. Oops. Or you can just have it on the ground. Right, neutral. Now this has its uses, but generally you want to do something like that. Now specifically on the ground, if you just do up B, you instant spark. Okay, now that slow spark is important because shoot, basically aim, shoot, and melee act as, oh, and flash shift. Basically any action acts as a macro to let you just do that up B that you saw. Now on the ground, you could do it off Spark, a store, because it does count as an action. And on the ground is significantly easier. Now most people just do melee and then Spark. All you need to do is a direction and B. Direction and B. I tend to use shoot and B just to make it extra consistent. Do not do shoot B as your macro, right? Most people default to melee up B or melee right B or something like that. But I like to do spin jump into shoot B like this, right? Like if you mess up, you'll be doing this a lot. But spinning also counts. And the reason why I like using shoot is because it makes you do it. And even though shoot is the worst macro one, it instantly takes you out. You can also use aim too. Like aim works also. Actually, aim might work a little bit better. But here's also the thing about aim is if you do it on the ground, see how she like jumps up? That's kind of just a normal what happens normally. Now my preferred method of doing any instant spark is to use spin jump. Spin jump is like my preferred. Most people do melee and stuff like that, but most times you're spin jumping to get into position like here, so just get used to using spin jump. Now sometimes people do this, and that's fine. You know, I do that too sometimes. There's also flash shift. Yeah, I think that's all of them. I believe you can also do off slide. Let me see. Now slide is probably the only one that doesn't work, but you could do it like, yeah, slide is the only one that doesn't work. So get used to instant sparking, because saving time from doing this, and you have to spark a lot, just saving time doing this. Oops. And slow sparking is just like, you know, this is time saved. It's like an easy time save. It's a little unintuitive, but I'm sure you'll be able to get it, right? You just spin jump and then shoot jump like together, right? Just do this. press it together. The hardest one is probably off sword because you have to be kind of fast on it. It's basically down and then immediately pick a direction and up and then jump, right? Like I want, let's say I want upright. I would do down, upright. Though diagonals are pretty annoying on a joystick, but you get to GIF. Now Speed Booster has a lot of nuance to it. It's partly why I like this game a lot. Besides the smooth movement, Speed Booster keeps me in the game. Speed Booster is surprisingly difficult to get used to, and it has a lot of properties that you have to understand. Right, like there. Like, why did that fail? It's because Samus does not like air, which makes things very difficult. Doing this is bad, but you can do a slide morph instead. I'm not sure if I could do it here, but that would be the solution to there. You can also do like a small jump. Let me see if I can get it. I possibly. No, that one has weird collision. Yeah, see? And knowing how this all comes together is like really important for Speed Booster. See? Now, there's also a thing about wall jumping. Now, most people would do a wall jump like you hold right and keep holding right, and then you hold left, right? I mean, correct? In this game, it's different. In this game, wall jumping, you can rub the wall this whole time and then press jump again. As long as you're spinning, right? You can't do this and then expect to jump without respinning. As long as you're spinning, you can jump at any time while rubbing the wall. It's not like SM where you have to do a left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Like, it's not like that. It's not that difficult. It's just as long as you're spinning next to a wall, you'll jump. Now, this is very important for Speed Booster because if you notice that for Speed Booster, if I jump at this wall, I kind of keep speed for a sec. Right? Let's try it in a more difficult spot. See how I kept speed? Now, I can do a delayed wall jump and keep the speed. See? See, you don't even need the morph. But morphing makes it easier. Now, here's the thing about Speed Booster is, and wall jump in general, once you do the wall jump, you don't have to hold a direction to keep the momentum. See? If I hold left the whole time while wall jumping, I kind of just stop and go behind. But this is me holding, this will be me holding right. See how far I like land around here? If I just do the same without holding, I land at like the same spot. See, look. This is me holding right. Land at the yellow. This is me holding nothing. And I land at the same spot. Now, this is very important for Speed Booster in general. And probably last thing I go over. You utilize that in Speed Booster. See, look. I kept the speed by not even holding the joystick. That's something you should... I'll play a clip of like a bunch of wall jumps together. There's also stuff like slide morphing that's very important. Slide morphing lets you keep the speed through, like because if you jumped here, it would be like really awkward. You might lose speed, but slide morph is very useful. Thing about specifically airball, like speedball hates air, but if you jump with ball keeps speed. Jump morph is also the same, but you cannot unmorph in the air. You lose speed. Stuff like GEI, I'll show you a clip. That becomes very important for unmorphing. But yeah, I think that I explained everything about Speed Booster. I'll show you Gozuna clip. That was a little sketchy. Yeah, I have the default layout of a 4-spark thing I made like months ago that is probably the well, it's not the fastest way, and I never said it would be the fastest one. Well, it was fastest for a while, but the other way is like very risky. I still recommend you learn this version and then move on later, because the other one's only just like a little bit faster for a lot less consistency. There's one thing I almost forgot to mention is sparking is not always faster, right? It seems like faster would do this, right? Oh, you go over. The time you build for the speed into the recoil for that spark loses quite a bit, right? Like I was already there. Let's say I got the spark immediately, right? That was like 2 flash shifts worth of recoil, or 3 flash shifts worth of recoil even. So sparking is not always faster unless flash shift is unusable or very difficult to make work. That's kind of like the beauty of Dread. You have very specific tools for very specific stuff. It can be a little limiting, but it's still enjoyable. Now, let's talk about cinematic sparks. So here's your first taste of cinematic spark. Cinematic spark is kind of like a close-up of Samus, and in the cinematic that you'll see, Samus goes slower than an actual spark, and then she recoils in the ceiling. Now, if I just do the preferred way, which is morphing before sparking, I don't get that much recoil and I don't get the cinematic. But if you don't morph, what you'll get is this. I'm pretty sure it's still here. The cinematic, it's very lengthy. It doesn't look lengthy, and that's kind of the point of why it's like that. There's only 2 in the game, here and at the end, but you definitely don't want it, because not only is it the slow spark, it's actually, you actually get a significant recoil from it, and it's actually slower than a regular spark for whatever reason. So in specific situations like here, you'll know the spots you want to do a morph. Obviously, the faster you store, the better. Like right here, like you want to like kind of store right here. But yeah, I believe I showcased a lot of the movement. I'm pretty sure I got like 90% of it. It's just gonna take a lot of getting used to put it all together, especially speed booster and flash shift and just general basic movement. But if you focus on flash shift, sliding in general, you know, coyote, ledge hops, and trying only to jump when absolutely necessary, your times will go down very quickly, especially in early game. Early game will teach you a lot about the fundamentals of Dread, and it kind of gets muddled in the end game. I'm sure y'all will get used to it and get your times down. Like just working out fundamentals, not getting lost, is getting fast. I already have a sub like 120 time, like barely even pushing. But eventually, you know, everybody's got to get better. So I hope this comprehensive guide showcase something helped you. I plan to make a lot more Dread guides in the future. I'm kind of just running out of material. Eventually, when I get a sub 15 time, I'm probably going to do a comprehensive route tutorial for the current short boost NMG route. And I'll basically it'll just be going through route and just explaining like room by room. Hope you guys will look forward to that, and be sure to like and subscribe. Check out my Twitch, and I'll see you guys later.